Welcome, welcome, welcome to this edition of Sagionic 1027. We are so glad that you decided to join us for this episode. And with us, I have another one of those guests that are like, yes, because everybody is a new, unique carrier of wisdom. And so today's guest I got to meet in 2019 when her and some of her college mates were traveling about to splash encouragement along the West Coast. So our guest today is Jess Ann. And Jess, we are so glad that you decided to join us today because you are one of a kind carrier of wisdom.
Thank you.
And I'm especially eager to hear and for you to share with our viewers because this program is about you and because it's my goal here, our goal at Sagionic is how do we help people step out of the normal, mundane scene realm of, oh, there's a couch, oh, there's a chair,
Mhm.
oh, there's this, oh, there's that, to partnering with the great I am who spoke creation into existence in the midst of darkness that
Yeah.
was upon the face of the earth, right? So
Yeah.
if you were to just like help people tap into your world, and when did you become aware of that the creator of the universe loved Jess Ann?
Mhm. So I was 5 years old.
Okay.
Um, I grew up in the church, pretty father son holy Bible. Um, but one night I was home and I just knew that I needed Jesus. And so I just encountered the Lord at that age and started weeping. And I said, I know I need Jesus to come in my heart.
At five.
And that at 5 years old, and I knew that I've known since then that that's the only thing that will satisfy me.
Mm. So here you are, you're a young girl, you are, you go to, you're in elementary school, then you move on to junior high, then you move into high school, then you move into the college age. And there's a terminology that's often associated with your latter years of elementary into junior high and high school called a crush. Okay. And so how much of an impact in taking your own verbiage in you saying, I knew that all I needed was Jesus. How did that impact you in your life during those phases
Yeah.
where society, movies, magazines, books say, oh no, now you're the age where you're supposed to enter into, want to be around all the boys.
Hmm. Well, I had brothers, and my parents did foster care for delinquent teenage boys. So I had plenty of boys in my house, and that was enough for me.
Good answer. Good answer. Hold on. Good answer. And I'm not Harvey. Good answer. Good answer.
So it wasn't really something I was looking for because I was kind of fed up with boys as a teenager.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. So you and I had an opportunity to meet in 2019 when you were attending Bethel School of the,
Mhm.
do they just call it School of the Spirit?
School of Supernatural Ministry.
Okay, School of Supernatural Ministry is when I met you. I actually got to interview somebody else, Ransom Yabara, and he
Okay,
attended the Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry.
awesome.
And so, can you tell us a little bit about what drew you to that
Mm,
school, right? And then how were you able to make that drawing a reality?
yeah. So I actually had gone to college for missions
Okay.
and went to Haiti for a little bit before coming back to I grew up in eastern Wisconsin, but I went back to western Wisconsin and kind of realized that I couldn't help people know Jesus and become whole when I felt so broken.
Oh,
So I started kind of this healing journey
okay.
of knowing that there was more. Because I had grown up in a Christianity that was not alive.
Mm.
So in my 20s, I kind of started to heal and seek out healing and from the Lord. And then in my late 20s, I heard about Bethel through a friend from college because I went to an Assemblies of God college. And I was like, what is this? Like, so I looked on the website, and as soon as I was on there, I was like, this is what I'm made for. Like, these are my people. I have to get there. And at that time, I was single, living on my own, like attending a church, part of a church community in western Wisconsin that had fallen apart and gotten really messy. And I knew that I needed to get out to California.
Okay, the only part I know about Wisconsin is one of my first childhood BFFs went to Eau Claire,
Hmm.
Emmanuel.
That's
Emmanuel.
where I lived before I came out.
That is
Eau
so.
Claire.
That is so funny because so FYI, I was praying over you when you were born, probably. Because if
Mm.
I'm 55, I'm older than you, and my friend went to high school in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, at Emmanuel
Wow.
Lutheran School. It was a high school and a college combined, and that's where she went.
That's
Eau
cool.
Claire, Eau Claire. I know that's got to be a
Yeah,
small.
so I grew up near Green Bay,
Okay.
Wisconsin, and then that's where I lived after college for about 5 years. I was over there.
That
Yeah.
is hilarious.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, just like a small world. Small.
Yes,
Small world.
it is a small world.
Okay. And so you were drawn over there. What made this school? I mean, because come on, let's get real. Not everybody that pops on a program to see a broadcast to hear an interview is necessarily going to be in the same mindset
Mm.
as you are. Okay. So what does that mean? School is supernatural. What is that?
Yeah. So for me, I think when I started kind of exploring the supernatural and Holy Spirit, because before I was kind of turned off to it
Okay.
and I didn't really understand it. But all of a sudden, I saw these hearts that I knew were genuine, and I knew it was the real thing. I was like, this is not show. This is not like just to be, silly and crazy and wild and do weird stuff. Like, I could just feel the meat of what was in it. And, you know, manifestations such as shaking, speaking in tongues, different things. It was like, this is just the fruit of hearts that are set on Jesus. It wasn't about the stuff happening, it was about how the Lord is transforming lives and that He could heal us and that we could live fully and we could live abundant lives. And I'd never heard that in the church before,
So it
at
kind
least
of
in the church I had grown up in.
so it kind of I'm a visual person, okay? So it kind of sounds like your experience with Jesus before was like something you could just look through like this. And
Hmm.
now all of a sudden your parameters going from this to what?
Hmm.
Okay? Or you know, and it's not placing any kind of judgment on different settings, but if you were told this is what it looks like and you're to sit here and straight as you possibly can, and we're going to read this passage, and then we're going to sing this song, and then we're going to kneel, stand up, sit down, and this is precisely how it's going to do. And now it sounds like you're saying, wait a minute. Wow, look at all this other
Hmm.
stuff that's out there that I could experience.
Yeah.
So
It
can you
was like
tell
black and white to color.
yeah, so tell us, um, so we're talking about Bethel
Yeah.
In Redding, California, School of Supernatural. Okay, so
Hmm.
tell us some things that you personally discovered and became aware of that you, as a woman, could experience pertaining to the Lord.
Mm. Yeah. I feel like for me, a lot of it was, oh, Jesus is where my healing comes from. Oh, this is how my heart is going to be healed, and my body too. He's not just going to take care of my heart. It's like my whole being, you know? And I think that's what really impacted me, was how close I could be with him, how I can be in his presence um, at any moment and live in that and not live in a constant, am I doing enough for God?
Huh.
It's like he's done it and now he empowers me. I don't just, it's not about me trying really hard. And so
So
I think that is what has really impacted me.
So, what would you say? Let's say if there was a woman who was raised in it, I'm going to call them young adults because my oldest
Hmm.
is 36, so everybody below that is a young adult to me, okay? So, somebody who, let's say they were raised in a phenomenal house, they just had solid parents and a solid upbringing and stability. And what would you say to that person who everything seems to be so sound and put together? Why would they want to step into such a place?
Yeah. It's like next level. It's like what there's more. And there's more than you ever dreamed possible, and goodness and that you never dreamed possible. And so just to see, and I think a huge part is running with people that are so hungry for Jesus.
Mm.
It is so incredible to not only get to run along aside those people for 3 years and just do like deep life, but now after the fact of continuing to have those people in my life, to be inspired by them, to watch their lives, to like inspire one another and love each other and encourage each other and reach out. It's like I have these people forever.
That's really important because if you think of it, I interviewed somebody earlier who she was telling me the value of friendships and the
Mm,
value, oh, it was actually yesterday, the value of this core group of people that had
mm,
like-minded values, like-minded visions and passions and desires in life, who it has made life so much easier. Not that you learn to depend on them, but
yeah.
that you could like ebb and flow in and out of that community with those different people.
Mm,
So
yeah.
what would you say is the difference between what you've experienced and hmm, maybe um, maybe it has become a practice of some that their level of society is through
Mm,
social media.
yeah.
So, what would you say to somebody like that in
Mm,
what you're talking about and this amazing greatness with Jesus?
mm. Yeah, I think social media can be tricky because it feels so satisfying in the moment, but long term, there's not connection and real life connection. And, having people you have text groups with and voice memos, even if they're literally across the country, or, where you're sending pictures of your kids and your life and just staying connected. And it doesn't have to be an audience. It's just this intimate connection where, like, you know each other. It's not like I post a picture on Instagram and people are like, "Oh, your little guy's so cute." It's like people that know me. And it's just so much more satisfying for them to see my children grow up and to hear the stories and to share things with them, my struggles, my victories, than it is to, blast it to whoever. Which I feel like there's value in that, and there's people who are called to that and in certain stages of life. But I think it's really important that anyone who does that has a people who see things and know things about them that the rest of the world doesn't.
So you mentioned children, okay? So were you someone who grew up and was like, oh, can't wait to be a mom? Or were you like, oh, kind of, sort of, maybe, give or take, it really doesn't matter? Tell us about that aspect of your life.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because I grew up as a total tomboy, which, I was surrounded by boys, right?
Yeah.
But I did always want to be a mom. And from when I was a little girl, I always wanted to adopt, and also have my own children. And so that was something that that was always on my heart. As I was like, I want 8 kids. I always wanted so many kids because I always loved kids.
Yeah. And you had a big family if your parents
Yeah.
foster kids.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You had 2 brothers, but one with all the foster guys, it was a lot.
And so this was on your heart, and then so did you so you go past 21, you go past 22, and
I go past 30,
okay.
32.
And what did that do to that hope, HOPE, motherhood barometer inside of you?
Yeah.
Be real. What did that
Yeah.
do? What did
No,
that
totally.
do to your hope barometer?
Yeah, I think for me, it came in waves.
Okay.
I wasn't ever like planning my wedding, picking out my dress, like that. I wasn't about that. But I did long for children, long to be married. And so there were definitely seasons where it was really painful and just like felt impossible. Like, this isn't never going to happen. Am I enough? Is there something wrong with me? Because I never really dated. Like, it just wasn't, like, I didn't seek it out. And I think part of it too was growing up with a bunch of delinquent teenage boys that kind of learned to put up walls to men. And so, yeah, so it was definitely a journey of being like, how do I put myself out there? How do I be vulnerable in my femininity? Because that still at times is difficult for me.
Okay.
So yeah.
Did you
And then came 2021.
Okay, wait. Before 2021,
Okay.
did you have friends that saw you as a project? Like, I know what we could do. We could, connect Jess Ann with this person, or maybe we should go here and Jess Ann's going to meet somebody. Did you have well-intended friends who thought, I know what we could do for our friends? And did you wind up seeing your friends get married left and right?
Right. I definitely had lots of friends get married and have kids.
Okay.
But I also had, I think being like, because I was, let's see, I was 30 when I moved to California, because I was out on the coast in
Okay.
Humboldt for a little bit before I was at Bethel. And so also had single gal friends that were pursuing Jesus. So that helped a lot because I wasn't like home where all my friends were married and there was
Okay.
nothing really for me. I was in this place where it was helpful to be, I think. And I didn't feel like a project. Like, I think there were maybe times when friends tried to connect me, but it wasn't really too bad, thankfully.
Okay. Okay. So then Jess then gets to 2021. And then what then what decided to unfold in your life?
Yeah, so I don't know if it was the loneliness of 2020
Okay.
of what it was for all of us or what sparked me, but I was like, it's time. I need to get on like apps and dating things and just like go for this, right? But I'm like a broke BSSM student. So I go on like um eHarmony and I'm like, okay, I'll get 3 free days and then I'll cancel
Okay.
just to see who's out there. So I get on and I can't do anything. I'm like, what the heck? What is wrong with this? So I try to get a hold of eHarmony. It literally took like 3 or 4 weeks to just get a hold of them. It was ridiculous.
Okay.
They're like, oh, for some reason we froze your account. It shouldn't have happened. So we're going to give you a month for free.
Okay.
I was like, thank you, Jesus.
Okay.
So what was it? A couple weeks later, this new guy popped up. He was widower. He had 2 kids, and I was like, oh, I'll just message him. He's from Tennessee. He's probably a nice guy. And the rest is history. He came to visit a few times. I went there, and then I decided to move there. And we got engaged. And then October. So we met in February of 2021. We got married in October of 21. You know, classic Christian love story. So I moved from California to Tennessee. I got married and became mom of 2 because their mother had passed away. Um,
Oh. And how old were they?
so they were, let's see, when we got married, they were 10 and 8 or 7. Or no, yeah, 8. Carson was 8.
So how has that been? Because that's still a pretty young age. Like enough time passed, like 10 years of having a mom and then not having a mom, right?
Yeah,
And 8 years of having your mom and then not having your mom.
right.
How has that been for them in their little journey?
Yeah. So they like right away want to start calling me mom. And I had to tell them like, hey guys, you need to wait till me and dad are married because I'm not your mom yet. Like it was because their mom had been sick for a lot of their lives. And so there was just a lot that I think they were longing for. And so once me and Matt got married, it was like they were instantly my kids. Like I have chills, And I like since I was a little girl, I had wanted to adopt. So it wasn't. I mean, it was a huge transition because I went from single to married with 2 kids. But also in my mind, it wasn't a huge transition because it's what I'd always wanted.
So it's almost like you're mentally prepared, because it was placed within you,
Right.
right? It
Yep.
makes me think of that verse that says, God is always at work in you to will you according to his purpose.
Yeah, that's good.
Right?
Yeah.
He had already put it inside of you.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I met you, you danced. You were a dancer, and I was so blessed by
Mm.
the song that you carried in your mind, right?
Mm.
So tell me, like, so to me I see that as a creative side of you, right? So like
Yeah.
in being blessed instantly with two children, and then you guys had a little, you know
Yeah,
how
we
has
March of this year.
yeah, so how has that been for them to, not
Mm.
only did they get blessed with a new mommy, a new healthy mommy, right?
Yeah.
But also they got a sibling too. So like
Yeah.
that's like wow. So what has that been like
Yes.
on your home front?
Yeah. It has been incredible, like incredibly unifying, bringing so much joy, so much life. Like I feel like there's just been a lot of healing in their hearts, in all of our hearts with him being born, and just enjoying him, and just watching for them at their age to be able to watch him grow up and be loved, and what it looks like for a child to grow up, um, with healthy mom, and just what that should look like. It's been really precious to see.
Yeah, that's great. I think um, when families merge or come together, there's a lot of there's more dynamics to it, but that's also more
Mhm.
opportunities to pour love over more
Yeah.
people, and so
Yeah, and I want to say in the beginning, for about the first 3, 4 to maybe 6 weeks, it was a big transition for my daughter.
okay.
So it has been amazing, but there were really hard weeks in the beginning of just like being afraid of being replaced, or being afraid that
Oh,
um not being as loved, just kind of dealing with some of that stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's been wonderful, but we've definitely had to work through painful things as well.
Yeah, yeah. And even with that, um having like extended family and whatnot, you know, how, because if I could share a glimpse of something,
Mhm.
when I first, I married somebody who was a widower,
Mhm.
and the ages of children that came from her womb, she's in heaven,
Yeah.
they were 12 and 13, so further
Mhm.
up. And I remember for
Right.
the first, let's see, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, first 7 months, because it was Memorial Weekend when I did this.
Mhm.
We wound up, I think we painted the walls or something. I don't know what it was, but I had to take down the pictures because we painted,
Mhm.
right? But I felt like all of their mom's pictures needed to go back up. So we had a
Yeah.
wall, and on this wall, there were pictures of my husband and his first wife and the kids.
Mhm.
And then there were pictures of my children, the children I brought into our family, right? And they're
Yeah.
married. And then there was pictures of both of us in the center, and that remained there for a couple of years until the
Mhm.
remodel
Yeah.
took place. And then I thought, okay, and probably like when the remodel took place is when I was able to hand those pictures off to them to take into their homes.
Yeah.
So how have you wisely balanced the, yes, their biological mom is no longer here on earth, but she
Mhm.
always remains their biological mom? How do you navigate through something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, I think like with the picture thing, so like we have her wedding picture hanging upstairs, like in between the room. Um, and I think that is the hard thing of like, okay, how do we keep her memory alive? And I think it's like I don't really know her.
Yeah.
So I think just with their dad, like they or with my husband Nat, especially in the beginning, but not as much anymore, they would look through pictures on his phone, at night before bed. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to see pictures of mommy, and
Yeah.
just remembering times with her and memories they had. And there was definitely a lot of that
Yeah.
uh, in the first probably year.
Yeah.
Um, And we actually transitioned from Tennessee to Wisconsin like 2 months after we got married.
Okay.
Like unexpectedly, it just kind of happened.
Okay.
Like
So you're
the
you're
Lord
back
was
in
like,
the
"Whoop,
freezing
you're
cold now? You're back in the freezing
yes."
cold? Okay.
The Lord's like, "Whoop, you're going back to Wisconsin." I was like, "Oh joy." Uh, so I think in that there was a lot of memories and things around that got packed away,
Okay. Okay.
and some of those things came out. And like, I had bought them a frame, each of them like a frame to put pictures of, them with their mom or
Okay.
their family or whatever. They could kind of choose pictures to put in there. Um, but a lot of stuff kind of got packed away. And they, in their room, like I said, we have that picture upstairs, but in their bathroom that they share, they have like pictures of mommy and just different things of her. And um, yeah, I think it's interesting to try to keep a memory alive of somebody you never knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I remember once somebody had said um, that children, when they inquire, give them the information on a need to know basis, right? And so,
Yeah,
you
right.
know, it's not like you have to, over pour anything, regardless, because some mommies could have been physically sick, some
Right.
mommies had, were exceptional and then they were no more, like as recorded
Mhm.
in the Bible, right? And
Yep.
so, when a child, and then also just being sensitive, I think,
Yeah.
being sensitive, to acknowledge, you know, and I think the great thing about those of us who believe in an afterlife,
Right.
that to be absent in the body is to be present with the Lord, that heaven is real.
Yeah.
Heaven's just as real as
Yes.
you and I are looking at each other,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and one of my kids has had a hard time kind of facing the reality of what happened. And so I think that's definitely been a journey too of
Mm-hmm.
helping them feel the pain of what happened and see the reality of like that she is in heaven with Jesus
Mm-hmm.
and not be afraid of death
Yeah.
or that people are going to leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's definitely been a journey of whereas one of my kids is better at feeling the pain, feeling the grief. And so that's been a journey of, hey, this person was real. We can't ignore her. She's your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just having to walk alongside them in that.
Yeah, I remember years ago, one of my dear friends, her daughter said, her daughter probably would have been about six, maybe 6, 7. She said to her mom one time, because she was always very quiet, right? The daughter
Mm.
was. She said, "Mommy, they shared in Sunday school that God bottles up your tears. But
Mm.
what does he do with the ones that fall on the inside?" And you were just like, "Oh
Mm.
gosh, rip your heart out," right?
Oh.
Just because somebody's able to extrovertly process something does not mean
Mm.
that there's not inner turmoil going, that if
Yeah.
you can't, that there's not inner turmoil going on. And to be
Mm.
sensitive to that. So how have you, as the second mom, I'm going to call you that, okay,
Yeah.
in their lives, because it's reality, you can't change the past,
Yep.
right? So how have you been able to choose to protect your heart to not take offense when they miss their mommy, but you're the mommy there?
Mm. Yeah.
This is called Pry 101
Yeah.
because you're helping other
That's
people.
good. I like it.
You're helping other people.
I like this stuff. I think just being like, this isn't a competition.
Mm.
Like this woman loved her kids and did what she could for them with what she had. And just, knowing that, I don't know, I think that all of it is so much bigger than just what we see. Like once we're in heaven, like all that stuff is going to be so minuscule.
Uh-huh.
And recently I watched the trailer to a new movie about like life after death. I think it's called After Death.
Okay.
And just seeing the reality of like what these people experience when they die
Uh-huh.
is just pales in comparison. And so just reminding myself of like, this is, there's something so much, I'm living for something so much bigger.
Mhm. 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 I always think of, um, how the Bible articulates streets of gold. The
Mm,
crystal sea, walls of jasper, right?
yeah.
And I have a list of songs that, oh, these could be played at my celebration of life someday, right?
Yeah.
But while we're on this interview right now, the song that comes to my mind is "When We All Get to Heaven." What a day of rejoicing that will be when
Hmm.
we all see Jesus. We'll sing and shout the victory,
Yeah.
and just the excitement of it. And
Hmm.
um, now, how about how would you help women or men
Hmm.
who combined a family, right, or stepped into a family that's already been made, minus the
Yeah.
mom or the dad, right? How could you help them interact with extended family? Because you are now the new mom in the grandchildren of the mom who lost the
Hmm.
daughter, right? So what kind of insights could you give that could help another person out?
Yeah. So actually, my situation is kind of unique because my kids lost their aunt, their mom, and their grandma all in the same year.
What?
So they have no extended family on mom's side. They're all gone.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
tragedy.
So their grandpa was gone before they were born, and their other aunt had already died before they were born. And so there's friends that were like family.
Okay.
That actually when we went to Tennessee this last time, my husband's mother had passed away. And so I got to meet some of their mom's really good friends, and that was really incredible because I'm friends with them like on Facebook.
Okay.
But just to, get to know them and hear about, you know, different stories about their mom, my
Mm-hmm.
kid's mom, and just talk about life and just hear. I think one of the most powerful things is just seeing these people in tears of like how grateful they are for like the Lord bringing our family together. And just, I don't know, realizing that like I'm an answered prayer for these children,
Yes. Yes.
that like who knows the call in their lives. And in my fumbling and messiness and strength and courage and love and all the things like that, I get to see them grow into who he's calling them to be and to encourage them in like knowing him and knowing his word and knowing his voice above my voice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like that has been a huge like it's humbling and it's overwhelming at times. Just the responsibility of little lives. I think especially little lives that have been so impacted and so have had so much death at such a young age.
Gosh, it's tragic to think about it.
Yeah.
So, do you ever think about how it's inscribed in Revelations that there's 24 elders that go around the throne room of God, and in their arms are basins that are full of the prayers of the saints, right? So every prayer while their mama was on earth, right? Every prayer she ever prayed over them, right?
Yeah.
Went into those basins, right?
Yeah.
And it was actually this last week. I was praying over a couple of my kids, and I said, Lord, I just come into agreement with everything that, and I named their mom in heaven, everything that she sees pertaining to their lives in the Lamb's book of life, right? In the Lamb's book of life, right? What, I just come into agreement with everything, for the lives of my children. Even, with all the children, there was a grandma involved, right? There was a great grandma involved. There was a grandpa involved, a dad involved, whatever it may be, right? And I like to think of the verse that says, if your earthly father knows how to give good gifts, how much more does your Father in heaven know how to give?
Yeah.
Right? And so for a person who has been longing, okay, maybe hope has sizzled out like that firework that turns into a snake that burns up and it's just like a little piece of nothing, right? What would you speak into the life of someone? Maybe it's someone who's been longing for a child. Maybe it's somebody who cannot conceive, right? Maybe it's someone who their clock is long and gone and their uterus isn't Sarah's, right? What would you say to someone who just has that longing and the longings has lasted so long?
Yeah. I feel like it's like I don't really feel adequate to be able to say anything to them,
Hmm.
you know? But just like, you are not forgotten. The Lord sees you. There's not answers to your longing, but like in words, but there is an answer, and He's Jesus. Like, He is the answer. He's the satisfier of all longings, and He knows and He sees, and it hasn't fallen on deaf ears.
Mm. That's brilliant. My brain, Jess Ann, seems to think in songs, right? And when, gosh, this would have been in 1996. Yep, 1996. Went to a church in California. It was Calvary Chapel, Downey Calvary Chapel, and they sang a song that just basically melts any heart. Okay, and anyways, it goes like this. It goes, I have a father, he calls me his own, even before time began, my life was in his hands. He knows my every need. Wait, no,
He knows my name.
he knows my name. He knows my every need. He sees each tear that falls and hears me when I call, and hears me when I call.
I love that song.
So I would like you to pray a prayer of invitation for those who do not know the beauty of Jesus yet.
Yeah. And I just want to say that even though my children have lost a whole family, when they when my husband and I got married, they now have a ridiculous amount of family. And so there has been this thing that the Lord saw that they lost and has now given them something so precious and so many people who love them and so many people who have just accepted them as nieces and nephews, as grandkids, and like my grandparents are still alive. Like they have great
Wow.
grandparents.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
And so it's
amazing.
just been so cool to see them be able to have all this family. Yeah, so I'll just pray.
Okay.
Father, I thank you that you see our longing, you see our hearts, you see each tear that falls. And Father, you honor those longings and you hold them dear. You don't forget about them. You don't toss them to the side. You see that vulnerable part of our hearts. And Father, I just bless those who are longing for family, who are longing for children, who are longing just for things that have been put in their hearts, dreams that have been put in their hearts. Father, I just pray that they would sense your peace and your comfort, that their hope would not be deferred, that you would show them the gifts you have already given them. Jesus, that their hearts could see and live in gratitude and in longing, that they would not give those things up, that they would keep pulling at the hem of your garment. And Jesus, I just thank you for your goodness. And I just plead your blood over each one of those people and their situation. And we just ask for you to come. And I just bless them in Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name. And I would encourage anybody who listened to this broadcast to look up the song Waymaker. It's called Waymaker. So
Yeah.
Jess Ann, thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your experience at Bethel School of
Mm.
the Supernatural in Redding, California.
Yeah.
So, as what I would like to do is, so in the more underneath the link to your interview, with your permission, I would like to also put a link in for people who want to know about this college that you went to. That was
Yeah.
such a blessing to you.
Totally.
Okay.
Please do.
Yes, and
Tell all the people.
I will, and especially because I
Yes.
got to interview Ransom, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I just want to thank you
Awesome.
so much for taking this time out of your busy schedule and motherhood, in another time zone in the freezing weather in Wisconsin.
Not cold yet,
Yeah.
thankfully.
Okay, but it's gonna be past past 3 feet deep in snow. I know this
Oh,
much.
Lordy.
Okay. So we just thank you for coming on today. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. And to all of our
Thank you.
viewers, we want to thank you for coming on this episode of Sagionic 1027. And until our next broadcast and our next guest, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon thee always. Blessings. Bye.